Week 10 NFL picks against the spread for the 2012-13 season. Before we get started, just want to touch on two things. First off, I want to give a shout out to a couple of guys putting their picks out every week, doing some good work. Talk Rapper, Football Guru, B Daddy, which is Jay and Brian, Geo, JJSF. I know there's a few other guys out there. If I missed you, don't take it personal. Just hit me up with a PM, and we'll try and link our videos up. Second, I just want to touch on a lot of people do a lot of comments in the comment section, obviously, of different videos. And, I hear a lot of people complaining about these guys giving out parlays and they didn't hit or they missed or they're not picking good. They want to get winners and all this other nonsense. But, anybody who knows football knows that it's not easy to hit a parlay. Most people, even the best handicappers, maybe hit 1 to 3 parlays for a whole season. So you can't expect to hit these parlays every week. What you have to do is take these games that myself, some of these other guys like, and use them as a supplement to your own picks. This way you can kind of put something together for yourself that works. You really got to take your own picks first and everybody else picks second. So, that is what it is. We're not going to win every game, so just take it as it comes. Also, I'm going to try and get my picks out normally before the Thursday game. That's not always easy, but I'm going to try and do it. I do pay attention to a lot of line movement, so when I'm picking my games, when I put the video in early on Wednesday, my game picks for Sunday may change depending on how the line moves. So if that does happen, I'll obviously put an update right on the thread, and you guys can see that. Okay, so let's just get straight into the picks. The first game we're going to talk about is Thursday night. Colts are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're playing in Jacksonville, and right now the current line is the Colts are -3 favorite. I'm kind of looking at this game. I know a lot of people are on the Colts. I actually picked them last week. I had the money line in a parlay that I put out there that we actually hit, but this week I just think that the Colts are due for a little bit of a letdown. The Jaguars, I know they're only 1-7, but if you look at their one win, it came versus the Colts. So, and I know they won that game with kind of a last-minute pass that the guy broke free for about 60 yards and made the play, but they were winning the majority of that game versus the Colts as well. So, I'm going to pretty much take Jacksonville. I think +3, definitely a fair price. That's probably going to be a +3 game, give or take regardless anyway. And, I just think the Colts are a little bit due for a letdown. And they're not very good on the road. The Colts have been squeaking out some victories. I know they won in Tennessee. That was like a very lucky play in overtime to get that touchdown. And in that game, they really would have won by 3. So if you had Tennessee +3 in that game, they would have covered. So anyway, Jacksonville +3. Let's go with that one. The second game that we're going to talk about is the Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins are at home. Right now, current line, Miami is -6. I don't have a strong opinion on this game. Miami's pretty good at home. The Titans haven't looked too good the last couple of weeks, but, having said that, I just think that 6 points is a bit much. So I'm going to take the Titans +6 in this one. Again, no strong opinion. I'm going to keep an eye on the line for this game. All right, next game we got Atlanta versus New Orleans. Atlanta, obviously, the only undefeated team left in the league. They're playing in New Orleans. New Orleans are getting 2.5, so Atlanta -2.5 in this game. This game's a pretty interesting game. Obviously, New Orleans won. They beat Philadelphia. Everybody's seen that game. They looked pretty good, although Philly did run all over them. So, you can just imagine that Michael Turner is probably going to have a big game in this game as well. But when you look at this game, and a lot of people, and me and TR talked about this, about, getting some value on the Saints in the upcoming games. When you look at this game, the Saints actually do have a slim chance of making the playoffs. They have 8 games left, and potentially if they win 6 out of 8, they could actually, have a 9-7 season and actually get them to the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, their next 8 games, there's a couple of tough ones in there. They're playing Atlanta, Oakland, San Francisco, Atlanta again, in Atlanta. They're playing the Giants, Tampa Bay, Dallas, and Carolina. Now, when I look at those next 8 games, the 3 games they're going to have trouble with are Atlanta, San Francisco, and Atlanta again. But if they win 5 out of those 8 games, all they got to do is win 1 out of 3, playing Atlanta twice and San Francisco. So, having said that, I'd rather take them playing Atlanta while they're at home because I don't trust them going to play in Atlanta and winning that game. So I'm going to give New Orleans the benefit of the doubt. I know they just played that game, got a big win, kind of short rest, but I'm going to take New Orleans plus the 2.5 in this game. Okay, next game we're going to do Denver versus Carolina. Current line, Denver -4. That's kind of where I had the line. I expected it to be in and around -4, -5. Carolina did play well last week. They beat Washington. Obviously, not a great feat. Washington didn't play that well in that game. Um, I just don't really have another one. Another one I don't have a strong opinion on. Just give me Denver. I'm going to take the -4, and I'm going to cross my fingers. Next game, Oakland versus Baltimore. They're playing in Baltimore. Baltimore getting -7.5 as a favorite here. If you like Oakland, you're getting some points to deal with. Oakland did lose McFadden last week, which pretty much is their whole team. So, I don't know really what Oakland's going to be able to do to put points on the board because it doesn't look like they're going to be able to run too much. However, Baltimore, on the other hand, there's 1-3 against the spread. When the point spread is between 7 and 10, obviously not a good mark. But again, tough game. I'll give the nod to Baltimore at home, -7.5. This is a game I'm definitely keeping an eye on the line movement. Usually when money comes in on Baltimore, it's pretty solid. So right now, let's take Baltimore -7.5. Next game, we have San Diego versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay right now -3. Obviously, the last 2 games Tampa Bay played was pretty good. But I have a feeling San Diego is going to put up a fight in this game. Primarily, all they have to do is stop Doug Martin. I mean, this guy for Tampa Bay is an absolute monster. He's rushed for 250-something yards last week. He's running all over people. He ran all over Minnesota. But if San Diego can stop that run, they're going to be right there in that game. And it should be a pretty close battle. So I'm going to take San Diego plus the 3. Next game, we got Detroit versus Minnesota. Playing in Minnesota. Currently, Detroit is -1.5 favorite. When I look at this game, Minnesota at home, if you go back a few weeks, they were one of the teams to beat. They were playing really well. They played a couple bad games, and now it seems like everybody's just off the bandwagon. When I look at this game, Minnesota actually beat Detroit already. Excuse me, they already beat Detroit. So, having said that, both of these teams kind of look like the same type of team on paper. They're very unreliable. They play well sometimes, don't play well the other times. So I'm going to give the nod to Minnesota playing at home, and Detroit due for a little bit of a letdown. Okay, next game we got the Giants versus the Cincinnati Bengals. They're playing in Cincinnati. Another game I don't really have a strong opinion on. The Giants do play really well on the road. And I think Cincinnati, last week's game versus Denver, looks like they played all out to me. That was a tough game on them, and they still couldn't come up with the win. So I'm going to take New York Giants on the road to cover the 4.5. Okay, next game, Buffalo versus New England. New England current line -11 favorite. This is kind of a tricky game. Obviously, New England wins the game. 11 points is a lot to give up. New England actually kind of strange stat, but they're 0-3 against the spread after a bye week in the last 3 seasons, which you would think Belichick would be a lot better than that. But against the spread, they're not that good after the bye week. Having said that, to kind of counteract that, Buffalo does not play well in New England. Last season, they played in January toward the end of the season, and Buffalo went into New England. They lost by 28 points. In that game, New England was favored by 10. So this game, they're favored by 11. It's about the same. So we're going to go with New England in this game, -11. Okay, next game, Jets versus the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks at home, -6.5. Jets coming off the bye week, had some time to prepare. I kind of think Seattle's due for a little bit of a letdown at home. I know all their wins come at home. They got all that big hype, 13th man, all that other nonsense. But, I think the Jets with a little bit of time to prepare for this game. I think they could keep it at least close. They may not get the win, but, +6.5. Let's see if we can keep it close for the Jets. Okay, next game, St. Louis Rams versus San Francisco 49ers. Current line, San Francisco is -11.5. Looks like St. Louis is getting Danny Amendola back. Obviously, a good thing. They need a receiver out there. But I just think going into San Francisco, the way San Francisco's been playing, um, minus 11.5. I'm just going to take the points. I'm going to watch the line a little bit, see if St. Louis takes some money. But right now, San Francisco minus 11.5. Next game, we got Dallas versus Philadelphia. Current line shows Dallas minus 1.5. Don't really have an opinion on this game. Believe it or not, I'm going to take Philadelphia, even though they looked horrible versus New Orleans. I just don't think they're going to lose five straight. Dallas doesn't look too great either. I know they're favored in this game, but I'm just going to take Philly. They have a pretty good track record against Dallas in the past. Now we're going to go to Houston versus Chicago. Chicago's at home. Kind of surprised that Chicago was a favorite. They're minus one right now. Um, when I look at this game, Houston getting points, regardless of the amount, even though it's only one, basically it's a pick 'em. I still think Houston's definitely the way to go in this game. When I watched that Buffalo game last week, it kind of looks like they weren't even trying. They were just messing around. They probably had their eyes on the Chicago game. They knew it was going to be kind of a showdown game of the two teams with really good records playing each other. So I just got a feeling they walked around in Buffalo, just did whatever they needed to get the job done. In this game, they're really going to play hard and show people that they're really the team to beat. So I'm going to take Houston get the points in this game. Just think they're going to win by at least a touchdown. I don't think the game's going to be too close, to be honest with you. When you look at Chicago, they're a defensive team. All the games that they've won, it's been defensive. Their offense doesn't put up a lot of points. If they're 7-1, but when you look at the teams they beat Tennessee, they beat Carolina, they beat Jacksonville, they beat Detroit. I mean, those four games, all those teams are not even good. So yeah, they're 7-1, but they really didn't beat anybody. So we're gonna go with Houston in that game. And finally, we're going to go to Monday night, Kansas City versus Pittsburgh, playing in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh right now is minus 12.5 favorite, a lot of points. The Chiefs are terrible. I mean, they're not good. They got problems at quarterback. They can't get the ball moving. They don't score too many offensive points. But I just have a feeling with this game, I don't think the Chiefs are going to get blown out again on national television. I mean, they got destroyed by San Diego on Thursday night. I can't see them playing on Monday night again, nationalized television game, and losing by a lot. So I'm assuming they're going to lose by 7 to 10 points. So I'm going to take Kansas City plus 12.5. Hopefully they cover the spread in this one. Finally, we're going to go and I'm going to talk about my parlay. Most times I like to do 3 or 4 team parlays. This week, though, I don't have too many strong opinions on a lot of underdogs, so it's actually going to be a 6-team parlay that I like. I'm going to I'll post it in the bottom of the video. $100 wins $12.40 and 29 cents. That's based off payouts on Sportsbook. It's a 6-teamer, and I'm going to take Jacksonville plus 3. Denver money line, New York Giants money line, Baltimore money line, San Francisco money line, and Houston plus 1. And $100 wins you $12.40 and 29 cents. So it's just about 12 to 1. I know it's harder to do 5, 6, 7, 8 team parlays, but a lot of these bets in here are money line. I feel pretty good about a lot of the bets. The hardest game we're going to have to pull off is Jacksonville, but I think we got a good shot on Thursday night with it. So good luck. Hopefully with the parlay again, we're not going to hit all the parlays. There's a lot of other guys put their bets out there in their parlays. You're not going to hit them all. We hit one last week if you followed me. We're going to try and hit this one again. So good luck to all you guys. I'll update my picks getting closer to Sunday if any lines changes. And good luck.